Fast forward to the Gates Foundation, which most people don't realize was an undisclosed settlement between the U.S. Department of Justice and the Gates convicted felony antitrust violations, right? This was not, there was an allegation Microsoft did bad things. This is they were convicted of antitrust crimes. Quite mysteriously, the Gates Foundation just shows up and instantaneously starts laundering money into, are you ready for this? The World Health Organization. If you look at the financial statements, beginning with the Gates Foundation, when it was established, you start seeing an anomaly. It used to be that UN-associated organizations, and specifically the World Health Organization, had two line items for most countries. The country, through an organization like the State Department or through a line item budget, would allocate money to the World Health Organization. And then there's the corporation for the same country, and there's another allocation coming from there. But with Wellcome Trust, Rockefeller Foundation, and Gates Foundation, and the minor players like the Bloomberg Foundation and a couple others now, but mostly the top three, suddenly we actually have the formation of what we called the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board. Well, who's sitting on that? Dr. Elias from the Gates Foundation, Anthony Fauci from NIAID, Jeremy Farr from the Wellcome Trust. I mean, this is a criminal conspiracy. And I'm not saying that from the standpoint of conspiracy theory. I'm saying that from the definition of what it means to be a criminal conspiracy. And so if you ask the question, which is a legitimate thing to do, was the FDA, was the CDC following orders from the WHO? The answer is asterisk, almost. But who were they really following orders from? And that's where you get into the nasty answer, which is the answer was that interlocking directorate, that violation of antitrust laws, that corporate machine, not health, not, we're out for the good of humanity. That corporate criminal conspiratorial organization that was guilty at the time of racketeering, was guilty at the time of interlocking directorates, all felonies, was guilty at the time of price fixing, another felony, which was guilty at the time of actually suppressing commercial alternatives, which is called market allocation, another felony. That criminal organization announced that it was going to take over the world, and they did. But we have to name the names. It wasn't just the World Health Organization. Anybody thinks that Tedros is smart enough to pull this off is delusional. He's a puppet. And there's a giant stick up his ass, which is what's making his mouth move. But who's moving the stick for the puppet? And that is Wellcome, Gates, and Rockefeller. By 2023, which is kind of where we are right now, Gates represents 88% of the donation to the World Health Organization from donor organizations and agencies. By any definition, that's a controlling interest. So is it independent? No. Is it the World Health Organization nonprofit in Switzerland? No. This even violates Swiss law. Everything I'm saying is a violation of Swiss law. If we think about how bizarre it is that we have essentially the extension of the Carnegie Foundation's eugenics office, which they put at Cold Spring Harbor Labs back in the early 1900s, the continuation of that with the explicit inclusion of that as an agenda in the 1950s when the World Health Organization gets off the ground. The ongoing nature of Bill Gates getting up and talking about how there's too many people on the earth, and Bloomberg and others getting up and saying we need to figure out how to control populations. In 2011, when we had the Decade of the Vaccines publication come out of the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board, we had a very explicit statement that said that if we have vaccinations where we need them, we will actually see potentially as much as a 20% reduction in the population on Earth. Those are not allegations. Those are stated objectives.